guys, and welcome back to my channel. If you're new to my channel, my name is Shali Manyanga and I post content on motherhood, cleaning, lifestyle and general organization. So I've been doing a series on my pregnancies. I'm just covering the first and second trimester, that videos that I've done already, and this video is going to be covering the third trimester, perhaps the most fun, and I've been looking forward to be doing this. So I'm going to break this down into three categories, my experience with my third trimester, including the labor and delivery. So we're going to look at the symptoms, the labor and the delivery. Now, as you know, if you're not sure, if you don't know my experience with my first and second trimesters, I'll leave links to the videos below. So my third trimester, with my second pregnancy, I was extremely tired. Sorry if I keep looking down, I've got some notes written down. I was extremely tired, but what made it worse was that I was tired obviously from just being pregnant and everything that's going on, but I was also struggling to sleep, so it meant that I was feeling sleep deprived. I just could not get comfortable just throughout the entire third trimester. I just could not get comfortable. I would sleep, and I love sometimes sleep on my stomach normally, so obviously when you're pregnant you can't do that. So you can imagine you're tossing from side to side, and just getting from one side to another side is a mission when you're third trimester, to be honest. So I remember really struggling to sleep. It was so bad. I mean, a few times I got quite emotional and quite teary-eyed because I just wanted to sleep, but I couldn't. I had major back pain. Now it doesn't help because in this trimester is when you sort of get that buzz to do some cleaning or tidying up or prepping for baby, and obviously sometimes there's potential for you to overdo it, and I think I overdid it a bit because I went into, okay, this was the second baby, so it was less putting things together and more, okay, let's get things down from the loft, or let's just move things about. And I think maybe sometimes I just overdid it, so it didn't help with my back. And then in this trimester as well, now depending on your weight, I'm not sure if they do it by ethnicity as well still, but and your BMI and things like that. In the UK, you are offered a what do they call it? Gestational diabetes test, I think it's called. And then they also do an iron level test as well. So your girl ain't the smallest. So I had the same test with Ty, and I was offered it again this time out, and I took it. You don't have to take it, but I took it, and they took my iron levels. I can't remember what week this was, but they took my iron as well. I think it was like week 32 or 34. And this all happens with your midwife. So they took that, and I was so nervous because during my pregnancy, like I mentioned in my previous videos, I had a sweet tooth. So I was so nervous, thinking, oh my gosh, I'm so gonna have gestational diabetes. And then the next day I got a phone call from my doctors, and I thought, oh, here we go, I told you. And instead they were like, your iron levels are low. And I was like, iron levels? Like, I've never had any issues with my iron levels being low. And they sort of spoke to me, and I did explain that my diet has been so bad, as in terms of being off a lot of things, not really keen on vegetables and the things that that you get iron from, right? So your beef, your things like your leafy greens or broccolis, you get iron from those things. So I was like, I've not been eating those things. And so they were like, well, they weren't too concerned because it was just my iron levels were just low slightly, not enough for them to give me iron tablets. But she did say that maybe that's part of the reason why I was feeling really tired. And if I wanted to take iron supplements, I could if I wanted to. So I did go and just get some iron supplements, even though she said she didn't think it was necessary. But I just felt so tired that I thought I have to take them. So I did take them, and they did help. Slightly, but I still was very, very fatigued. So yeah, that was a little shock. I didn't expect to have lower iron levels. I expected more the diabetes, if I'm being honest. But hey ho, I'd rather the iron levels than the diabetes. So those were sort of my main sort of symptoms and things that happened. Obviously, I had my midwife appointments as normal, and by the time I went to my 30-week appointment, and midwife was more than happy that baby was fully engaged, and that, you know, it could have just been anytime soon. Now, just to wind back, with my first pregnancy with Ty, I had the exact same conversation with my midwife. At 38 weeks, she was like, you know, baby could be here any minute, you're fully engaged, sort of thing. So I remembered that. And for both pregnancies, that was the last time I went. I never got to go to the 40-week appointment. So those were sort of main symptoms and appointments that I had. That were sort of significant, really. And obviously, at this stage, I was also just starting to prep for baby. Like I said, this is second baby, so the prepping is slightly different, you know. He already had a next to me, like the bedside crib. It was just getting it down and moving it next to me. We already had loads of, you know, newborn clothes and things like that. So it was just making sure that my hospital bag and stuff was ready, which I think I had ready at, like, by 30 weeks, I had my hospital bag ready. So just making sure that was all nicely packed. We knew exactly, you know, how to get to the hospital. So with both my pregnancies, I always encouraged my husband to do like a dry run to the hospital. And then we sort of got measures in place to, obviously this time it was different because we had Ty, and we didn't know whether baby would come while Ty's in nursery or while Ty was at home. So we just put in place that my mom was going to make her way here, and she was in our support bubble, so which helped. So we just made a decision that mom would come over, so around 38 weeks, and just stay for how long she had to stay for, or end of 38 weeks, I think we'd said. So we just put all those measures in place and just got things ready. So I'd highly recommend that you do things like that. You think if you're having if this is your second pregnancy, you need to start thinking about care for your first child and how that person would get to you, you know, as quick as they could, because you can never predict when baby would come. So the main symptoms, and just sort of to recap, were I was very tired, major back pain, really struggled to sleep, and I had low iron levels, so I had to get my some supplements. I chose to get some supplements. Doctor didn't think I needed any. So like I said, we had made plans to have my mom to come over anyway once baby was here to help us for like a week or so, and also to watch Ty while I went to give birth. Now, with Ty, I gave birth exactly 39 weeks, like bang on 39 weeks. You're gonna have to forgive me. Tali's in the background, and she's playing with a toy that might be a bit loud. But anyway, with Ty, exactly 39 weeks, I went into labor. And my mom had always told me that when she gave birth to us, her labors had always been short, but very, very painful. So she was like, you know, she didn't go through the very 24 hours or even 8-hour labors, but they were excruciating. So with Ty, bang on 39 weeks, he decided to come. And with Tali, exact same thing, bang on 39 weeks. So I remember on the Friday, my mom was scheduled to come on Monday. So Friday would have been the end of week 38, and she's like, oh no, I'll come down on Monday, and then I'll just stay there. And I was like, okay, fine. And then on Saturday, she just said, you know what, I just have a feeling, let me just come on Sunday. And I was like, sure, mom, it's up to you, whatever you want to do. So Sunday she came round, and then and I wasn't feeling anything. I was feeling tired. I remember feeling very tired. And then went to bed. And then around 5 a.m. I woke up. This is on the Monday, the 3rd of August. And I felt like a twinge, but it wasn't a contraction, and I just thought, okay. So then I went into bed, and then sort of half an hour later, about 5:30, I thought, okay, this feels like something. So I got my phone, got the contractions app out, and I just started timing. And up to from 5:30, 6 o'clock, you know, they were just irregular. They were just, you know, I wasn't in like pain really. They were just, you know, you could tell you just tensing up, you know, something's happening every so often. But from 6 a.m, that's when I felt like, okay, something is definitely happening. I think it's happening. And so I woke my husband up because I think my battery died or something on my phone or something like that. And then I woke him, I was like, can I borrow your phone? I need to just time these. And he's like, oh, okay, baby, come in. I just explained to him everything was going on. Anyway, so we just continued as normal. He went, got a shower. I went and I showered. And they were happening, but more like 10 minutes apart or something like that. More like 10 minutes apart, so nothing major, and they were still not that painful. And then by the time I got to 7 o'clock, they were quite painful, but still not as painful as I remembered the final contractions to be. So we decided to call the doctor and the hospital. Sorry, we decided to call the hospital. And the hospital said that you need to wait until you're getting, I think it was 3 every minute. I said, oh, okay, that seems like cutting it quite. No, sorry. So we called the hospital and they said you need to wait till you're getting 3 every 10 minutes. So I said, okay, that's fine. So this was now like probably like almost 7:30 now. And so I just, they were regular, but they were still not at 3 every 10 minutes. So I just came and I knelt down. It's exactly what I did with Ty. I just knelt down on the floor, like leaning on the sofa, just swinging from side to side every time I had a contraction. And bless Ty would come along and he thought it was a game. So he'd come and like, Mommy, let's do horsey, because he thought I was about to sort of get on my knees so he could climb my back. I was like, no, Ty, it's not one of those, darling. Mommy's in pain. And bless him, after a while, he came rubbing my back. He found it so funny. And then every chance I got, it was all when the contractions were gone, I think I got up and I made like some toast or something, and then they came back, and then I had to just labor through it. So yes, about 8:45, so 8:45, we called the hospital, of course, and then they explained where we were, and they told us to make our way. So made our way, and I even said to my mom, was here obviously watching time. I said to my mom, I was like, oh, they might just say I'm not dilated enough and turn us back, but we'll see. Anyway, we got there, and then because of COVID, my husband and I couldn't both go in. I had to go in by myself, and then once they've checked me over, then my husband could be told to come in. So I went up. I told them, I'm here. I gave birth in like a birthing suite, so not on the consultant-led ward, but on the midwife-led ward. So they put me into the waiting room, and I was there like breathing, and like the contractions were so bad then, and I was in there for like 20 minutes. I was so annoyed that they left me in there for so long by myself, and then there was no one else, and then after the 20 or half an hour, a midwife came and she's like, okay, we need to check how far dilated you are. Now with my son, I never got checked how far dilated I was, because it all happened so fast, and also 2 days prior I had fallen on my coccyx, so I couldn't lean back on a bed or anything. It was so painful. So they tried to, and I said that there's no way that's happening. So this was my first time actually getting my cervix checked in terms of my dilation. So she made me lean back, and oh my God, I could not believe what it was like. I felt she put her hand in and touched my brain and then pulled her hand back out. It was just so uncomfortable. At this point, there's been no pain relief whatsoever. So she says I'm like 5.5 centimeters dilated, and she said the next contraction that's going to come after this is going to be excruciating, because I've just sort of messed around or played around with your cervix. I was like, oh, okay. And for real, the next one that came was like death. It was so bad. It was so bad. Anyway, she says, okay, fine, we can call your husband. You can call your husband and tell him to come up. So I think my text was like, babe, up. So he came in, and then I sort of made my way to the birthing suite. Now, I was blessed enough, both my pregnancies, to have a water birth. I had a water birth with Ty, and I absolutely felt like it was the most relaxing and best thing for me. So when it came to planning my birth this time around, I was like, if everything goes well, I would love to do the exact same thing. Hey, sweetheart. If all goes well, I'd love to do it the exact same thing. So we get in there, they've already started running, the pool's already filled, and then my husband comes in, and you know, within a second, I'm like, I strip everything off because I kind of know the drill, right? I'm not going to wait for her to ask me. And then she says to my husband, would you like a coffee? And she says to me, would you like a... I was thinking, no one's having coffee. We're about to give birth here. So anyway, they, as they did last time, they sort of left. They got me into the pool safely, and then they left. And I swear, as soon as my body just touched that water, it felt like I was about to push. Honestly did. It felt like I was just honest. And I said to my husband, I was like, you need to call them because I am going to be pushing. And I'd be given, I'd taken paracetamol at this point. So my husband runs out and calls, like, you know, she's asking you to come in. And then, so if you're having a water birth, the only way they can check what's going on usually is by putting a little like mirror, so they can have a look at what's going on. So she put a little mirror, and she's like, oh my God, you know, things have just escalated so quickly. So if this is like a second baby or third, whatever, it's very possible for you to, for your dilation from like 5 centimeters or 5.5 to go to sort of fully dilated very, very quickly. So that's what, in my case, that's what happened. Bear in mind, let's recap on the timescales. I started feeling a twinge about 5 o'clock, right? So now at this point, we are about 10:15. So it's roughly been about 5 hours from my first twinge to me being in the water. So then I was like, I'm gonna start pushing. And I was just like, I have to start pushing. So she's like, you know, you're fine, start pushing. So start pushing. And all I can say is that the pain just felt 10 times worse than the first time round. I'm so sorry if you're expecting a second child or third or whatever, but for me, the pain was a lot. It was, yes, I don't know what I was thinking, what I was expecting, but it definitely was more intense. With both my pregnancies, I did hypno birthing, so I sort of practiced the hypno birthing. You practice it obviously before with your partner, and then you have like a playlist that you listen to, and you can have music. So my husband knew what to do. He had the speaker, he set it all up, so it helps you with your focus and stuff. And if you're looking to have like a natural birth. 10:43, Talia arrived, and we were so happy. You know, so everything really went so smoothly and so fast. So I got in the water about 10:15, sorry, and then half an hour later she was born. So yeah, it was great. So I got out of the water and then delivered the placenta, and then after that, you know, they just checked me out. And for both my pregnancies, I've been blessed. I had no tearing. So didn't need any stitches, very straightforward birth. When I had Ty, they were amazed because normally with your first baby, majority of women have some sort of tearing, but I had none for my first baby and none with Tali. And then after that, they just start going through checking her and all the bits and bobs that they do to make sure everything was fine. And yeah, it was just beautiful. We just took a moment to just enjoy our baby before we sort of rang anyone or anything like that, and just had some bonding. I did some skin to skin, Brian did some skin to skin, so it was just absolutely lovely. So yeah, I think one thing I did miss out that I forgot to mention was with Ty, probably 2 days before, a day before, I lost my mucus plug. If you don't know what a mucus plug is, basically the only difference is that with a Ty, I lost my mucus plug, and with Tali, I didn't. Yeah, so, and my waters didn't break in either. My waters broke when I was actually like giving birth. So I never had, they didn't rupture, so I've never had that. Oh my God, my water's broken. I've never had that. So, so yeah, so that was my experience in terms of my third trimester. The birth and delivery. I was so keen to share the birthing story with you. I honestly know I'm very lucky to have gone through the births that I've had. And you know, from having a non-complicated pregnancy to having a very straightforward delivery. Now, my only concern, I remember saying, was that if we chose to have more kids, like how much quicker or how much shorter would the labor and delivery be, you know? Because mine was pretty short, to be honest. It was basically about 5.5 hours of the actual, you know, I'll probably say from 6 o'clock is when I felt like I was laboring. So if you say from 6 to 10:43, you know, you're looking at like, yeah, like just under 5 hours really, which is very, very fast. But like my mom said, she was right, short, but painful, like so painful. But honestly, it's a pain that is worth it. It's a pain that you soon forget. So yeah, so I would definitely say that I've been blessed and I've had great experiences. I know it's not for everybody, but I think sometimes you tend to hear more of the bad labor and delivery stories, you know, and sometimes just good to hear a good story, you know. My mom and I were finding it so interesting that it felt like you know, you've done like a half day at work and you're back already, and it just felt like I left here with the baby in my stomach and I've come back with, you know, I still find it amazing, the concept of birth and being pregnant and stuff. I think it's just a fascinating area. So yeah, that was my birthing experience, guys. Yeah, I think that's everything from me. Sweetheart, you want to say bye-bye? You say bye-bye? Yeah, so I'm so sorry for the noise. I would have stopped and done it another time, but hey, this is being a mom. And if you're here watching motherhood videos, then this is the reality of it. So thank you so much for watching. I hope that you like, share, and subscribe. Bye.